Hey everyone, today we're going to see if I can beat Pokemon Leaf Green with a team of only one Kingler. As I'm an amateur Pokemon player, we're going to play only by a few simple rules. First rule, only Kinglers can be allowed in battle. Others only for HM, such as Surf, Cut, and Flash. No glitches or exploits while in the game, and then other H Pokemon must faint without attacking if Kingler goes down. Okay, so let's break down Kingler before we get onto this challenge. So, Kingler stats. He's got about a 55 HP, but that his attack and defense is really what's going to help us get through this game. And that speed's also going to be pretty well. That special attack and special defense, though, it's not the greatest, but I think we're still going to be able to hold our own, especially early on game. Like I said, with that attack and defense. Now, what moves is Kingler going to learn along the way? So we're going to start the game probably, I think, with a Vice Grip, Bubble, Leer, and most likely Harden. Looks like we learned that Vice Grip, Mud Shot, Stomp, Guillotine, and then Crab Hammer. So it's really interesting. Kingler being a fully water type Pokemon can only learn two water moves and then one ground move. I heard that one because crabs are hermit crabs, and so we can learn a ground type move. But I know that Mud Shot's going to come really versatile later on. And then the TMs that he can pick up, a lot of water moves, ice moves, rock moves, few psychic. It's here and there, but I think these TMs, especially where we pick them up in the game, since we're trying to do this a little faster, is going to help us kind of break it down and see how far we can get in the game. Okay, so we start the game with picking out Kingler, maybe Squirtle, and we programmed it, but we're going to pick up Kingler first. All right, after that, we're going to fight our rival. We gave him Bulbasaur to make the challenge a little more difficult as, grass going to beat water. So, of course, Oak's going to teach us how to play, but you see that Vice Grip is going to be our clutch move, probably the early on part of this game. After that, we hit up Viridian Forest, getting through all of our bugs, trying to figure out what's going on, fight a couple bug trainers as we compete. Sorry, Weedle. Again, that Vice Grip is really going to come in clutch for fighting a lot of this, even though I decide to try to use Bubble here and there occasionally. Before I fight Brock, though, I want to get a little more training in. So I take down a few Pidgeys, take down a few Rattatas, and just really build him up. So I take on Brock, see what he's about with that Geodude and that Onix. Again, we're a water type, so fighting rock ground types isn't going to be that big of a challenge for us. So I start with that Bubble, taking out Geodude pretty quick, getting to that level 14 already. And then Onix, same thing. Bubble, his Rock Tomb doesn't really do much to us. That Bind, and we just keep using those water moves over and over again, solidifying our first gym badge. We start going through the routes, and this is a moment where I learn very fast that Nidoran and Nidoran have those poison points. And so even though I use my physical attack moves, I easily get poisoned, and I still only have one Pokemon, not even an HM one. So I immediately have to sprint back for a Pokemon Center just so I don't fade and forget where I even last saved. With that, though, I means I'm going to overstock on a bunch of antidotes just in case that happens again. So we start going through Mount Moon, and I fight my first Team Rocket kind of challenger. Take him out, make it pretty easy meet. Already at level 20, fighting that Sandshrew. Kingler really isn't having a problem yet in this game since we are, that again, that attack and defense is pretty high and speed is not that far off. Hang out with this mad scientist for a little bit, take on some poison types. Again, pretty easy. That Voltorb, though, this is where electric types start making me very nervous because it just takes one and I'm pretty much gone. And then we go, we're going with that poison. I just gets me every time. After being the nerd, I decide to pick up a fossil, which we won't use, but we pick up the Helix fossil anyway. So I fight the rival for the first time after that, and so we're coming out with Pidgeotto. I use that Vice Grip. We want to make sure he doesn't get those sand attacks off, rooting it for us. Fight Bulbasaur, make quick meat of him with that Vice Grip. Fighting Abra, not too still worried. Going to keep using that Vice Grip on them. Pretty high level at this point, and you got that Rattata, and again, we're using that Vice Grip. It's going to be our kind of our move here for a lot of that, using that big claw. So rival gives us some good stuff, tells us about Bill. And before that, then we're going to hit up the Nugget Road. Again, I learned very quick about poison. But at this point, we learned also the move Mud Shot, which I think is very important because this is going to be a long-term move that we're going to use for a lot of the rest of this run. Considering this is the only ground move outside of Dig, and it's going to be pretty useful considering we have a lot of electric, poison, other kind of types ahead of us. So we forget Harden and we learn Mud Shot and use it sweet revenge immediately on these Nidorans. We then fight someone undercover as Team Rocket. Thought I'd throw this in. A little, always an interesting thing coming to add, trying to make us join Team Rocket. And then we use that again, Mud Shot. Oh no, looks like we decided to use Vice Grip to beat this one apart. Get our nugget, call it a day. At this point, we talk to a random Clefairy who likes to call himself Bill. We help him out for a quick second before we keep moving on and get our ticket for the SS Anne. After talking to Bill, I decide let's go fight Misty. So she comes out with that Staryu, and we still are rocking a little higher level. So we take out that Staryu pretty quick. Now follow with Starmie. Again, we keep using that Vice Grip very hard inside of this one. But Misty comes out with that Super Potion. We hit with the critical. I become confused. I get very nervous because my high tech is so much higher. But we still pull it off and get that second gym badge. But I think it's important, too, to understand that this is where also we get the opportunity to learn Stomp. Now, Stomp's going to replace Vice Grip for us just purely because of its strength and, the amount of times, we could use it. The big thing here to remember, though, and why I'm mentioning it, is that Stomp is going to be another critical move that we're probably most likely going to keep for the remainder of this run. And you're just seeing me have a nice, simple debate internally of which move to get rid of. Ultimately, we get rid of Vice Grip. Also, Misty gives us Water Pulse, which is going to be super important for us as well, as Kingler knows Bubble, and it's not the strongest water move. And so at this point, we're going to get Water Pulse, and it's going to be a strong move for us until we can get Kingler to learn Surf, which will be another key move for us during this run and just getting around for this challenge. As you see, Water Pulse is 60, Bubble is 20. Not a big debate here. Before we take on Surge, though, I want to train up and see how strong this Mud Shot really is, along with Stomp. And so we can see it makes real easy work of this trainer with all of his electrical types. We're using him for practice, sadly. But again, we're also a higher level at 29, so it should be easy work. While that, though, we go and have some arm wrestling with some sailors on SS Anne, just to show what we're up to during this part in the challenge, making sure we got that Stomp working and getting as much experience points as we can because we're about to take on Electrical. But let's fight our rival once more. He comes out with that Pidgeotto. We use Stomp. It's going to be a regular move here. We have that level advantage right now with that attack. So really, and the speed. The big thing here with a lot of these challenges and fights are going to be us going first, be able to get those moves off and not let them get that damage points in us. So the rival currently isn't a challenge yet. That Ivysaur, I'm not worried about him yet until he becomes a Venusaur, but we're able to clear past that rival. Now, at this point, he tells us about Cut, which is going to be an important HM for us, and an HM that I'm not going to teach Kingler. And so this is a point where we get one of our Pokemon that are going to serve as our HM Pokemon along the way. And you remember our rules moving forward. I get lost doing this puzzle, and I for the longest time forgot that the riddle for this is that once you find the switch, it's going to be the one to the right of it. And so this took me longer than I want to admit. But we go and fight Surge. Now again, when worried, electric types obviously are stronger against water types. So we're going to see how this goes. Mud Shot makes easy work of Voltorb. Pikachu's next. Hit him with another Mud Shot. Again, I think this level increase, I know we're nearly double the level of some of his Pokemon, and that Raichu we were somehow faster with being a higher level already. So we made, again, 1, 2, 3. We didn't have to really worry about fighting this Pokemon. Now, I didn't learn, though, is to get Cut, we have to count 10 Pokemon in Generation 3. I only have 2. And so this is me capturing more Pokemon, wasting time for us to get this HM Cut. I decided not to learn Guillotine just because it's such a poor accuracy. Yeah, if it hits, it kills, but I take so many chances and I'd rather learn stronger moves. But decided to take on Erica over at the 4th gym. I think I'm big and bad. Grass don't scare me. Grass Surge scare me because I'm paralyzed and already halfway down with my health. And that Tangela said, I have something for you, and it's called a Giga Drain. And like that, we have our first faint. So I decided to take off my aggression on Giovanni, who's very accustomed with losing over and over to multiple trainers. And so we decided to take him on, clear him out. Again, he's not going to be hard for us, seeing we have Water Pulse and Stomp, and we're already a level 44. But I decided to go say hi to my rival once again, just to see, just check up on him. And again, we make clear work of a lot of his opponents. He still doesn't have Venusaur, so that Ivysaur is pretty easy for us. Now with that Gyarados, his Intimidate doesn't work on Kingler, which is pretty awesome. And then that Growlithe again, half of his team I'm worried about, and the other half they're just in the way. They really are. Yeah, we're not worried about your rival. Not today. Fight my way through Lavender Tower. So I had some ghosts. Deal with Cubone's mom. Then after that, we get our flute, and I go say hi to the sleeping giant. Make quick work. Always wanted to catch the Snorlaxes when I do play, but in this instance, not too much. I decide let's go fight Koga. I'm not scared. We're a pretty high enough level. Let's do it. Poison. We're against poison now. We've accustomed to it. We know how to fight it. So we get through with fighting his coffin. Gonna take on that Muck. Again, quickness is gonna be our ally. So Muck does not get to learn those evasive, higher stat moves that make him impossible to fight with in the regular. But as you see, we get poisoned. Koga is scared of us. He uses that hyper potion. We keep going on with those stomps. Gets level 52. Take on that wheezing. That poison is getting us slowly but surely, but I think we got this. Close. It was close. I was sweating bullets. Decide to put on our Quick Claw. Just like I mentioned before, speed's going to be, I think, critical in this game. So we're making sure that we get that on there. And this is a point where I teach Kingler Surf, like I mentioned before. We're going to use it to replace Water Pulse. It's a stronger move. We need it to get for the rest of this game. And I think it's going to be beneficial for us moving forward. At this point, I think it's time for my revenge. We take on Erica. As you can see, though, we are an extremely high level at this point. So when she sends out that Victreebel 29, we are cruising at a level 52. So that Tangela has nothing for us. We just stomp our way through. And this is also where I learned that you can fight the gym leaders in an out of order, which was completely new to me when we went through this. Also choose not to learn Crab Hammer. I think Surf's going to be our better option moving forward. It has more power points and has stronger moves. So I decided to fight Gary at this point in order for us to get to Sabrina at the next gym. So you have to fight him and Giovanni. What kept you? Gabe's narrating right now, so you're going to have to wait a minute, Gary. All right. As we get through this, again, that Pidgeot, we want to take him out as fast as possible so he doesn't get those sand attacks. That Venusaur, making me nervous, but not yet. Gyarados can't intimidate us. We're a large crab, so we stomp our way through. Growlithe, you're not going to. We got two moves that can take you out. We're not worried. And Alakazam, we're faster than you already, so you're not going to really get us. Giovanni, I decide to. It's rude for you to start badgering old people, so we make really quick work of you as well. Even use a mud shot on you. The only one I'm really worried about fighting you is that Kangaskhan, and clearly we cleared our way through him really fast. As we keep going, though, I take down this Venomoth. And so with this, we're also fighting Sabrina at this time. Really quick. She really didn't have anything against us. I decided to try my luck at the fighting gym just to prove that you don't need hands. You got claws. We take down this black belt really fast. Not a problem. During this time, as I get to Cinnabar Island, I realized, and I never do this, I got lost going through this island. I could not at the moment figure out how to get out. And I was getting very frustrated. And I don't think I learned strength yet either. And so I was like, oh, great. Nope, I'm still in the same spot. So what do I do instead? Take the longest way possible. So I didn't know fly yet either at this time. I didn't go and pick it up. And so I had to run all the way over through Palatown to get to here. So now we're exploring this mansion, going through, taking our time, trying to get as fast as possible. I never realized how much you can get caught by wild Pokemon. We take on our 7th gym, make pretty quick rule of it. Again, it's a fire versus a water. We're extremely high leveled at this point, just from us battling so many people by ourselves, and we just literally surf our way through. Quickly make our way to Giovanni to see what's up. He wants to lose again. We're more than happy to help him. And again, we surf our way through to get our 8th gym badge. We decide to meet with our rival one more time just to see what's up. Again, we start putting in the work, and here comes that Venusaur ready to ruin our day. And just like that, we take another L. At this point, though, we're going to teach Kingler Blizzard just to help us combat that Venusaur and that Pidgeot and any other flying types we're going to encounter, such as Dragonite and all the other dragon types, to really help us kind of push through that last hurdle. So we remove Leer and we learn Blizzard in its place. And I decide I don't want to lose again, so I go fight our rival once more. Use Blizzard, make quick work of Pidgeot, use it on Venusaur, decide to finish him off with a Stomp instead, just to be safe, and then we make really quick moves throughout the rest of his team, using Gyarados, using Surf, Stomp, and Surf once more. And destroying that Alakazam that really didn't get a shot. I just wanted to show you guys as well how much I got lost in Victory Road. I've played this game a good amount of times at this point, and I just can never remember where these boulders go. And this is just me figuring my life out in this cave. If you made it this far, though, I appreciate if you guys could sub. That would be amazing on our road to 1,000. This is our first challenge, hopefully the first of many, and I hope to see you all along the way. However, at this point, we've used items. I just want to make sure we get our full restores. This is going to really be critical for us, even though I make the critical error of forgetting that I have all of these full restores as I take on the Elite Four. So we try out Lauralee for the first time. We use Stomp. Not too worried about fighting her at this point. Again, her worst moves are Ice. That's not really do a lot to Kingler. Again, we have that high defense. Speed, we're going to mostly go first in a lot of these. The only thing I am worried about, though, is if I get confused at this point. So Jinx, never even get to see it more than once. That's okay. So Lapras, we keep using that Stomp, and there's that confusion. We're getting low health. This isn't good. Get that critical hit with Stomp, though, and we get to make our way past Lauralee. So at this point, though, we decide it's time to take on Bruno, our second Elite Four member. Now, Bruno, he's got 2 Onyxes. He's got a Hitmonlee, a Hitmonchamp, and a Machamp. Now, the Onyxes, we're not worried, but the other 3 fighting types could be a challenge for us. So we're going to use Surf to take down Hitmonchamp. Kingler, he's trying to hold off against that Hitmonlee. Then Machamp comes out, and we don't do so hot. But we're not quitters. That's only our 3rd feint in the game. That's still a passing grade in my book. And so we try again to take on Bruno. So we beat him with, try to use that Blizzard, try to use Surfs, try to use Stomp, switching up the strategy, trying to see what works. Got a little more health this time. Unfortunately, though, I think we're not going to be able to make it through. And we don't. So what do I do in this moment? I don't train. I decide to use every rare candy that we have to make ourselves faster, stronger, never over. So we go back and we decide to take on Lauralee, as I decided to try to do this all inside of Victory Road instead of in between. So we fight Lauralee once again. Cloyster's using that Protect. We try to use Stomp. That Hail is going to continue pelting us. That's okay. The spikes aren't going to help do much since we're not switching. And so we keep going. Again, those Protects are working, but not really going to help in the end. Slowbro comes out. Continue using Stomp. Now, these yawns is where it's going to become a problem. Because we get put back to sleep, and then we're going to try to keep using Stomp, and Lauralee decides to use her full Restore. And guess what? We're still asleep. And Slowbro's just getting stronger, and we don't like that. And so we try to make our way through it. We wake up, and guess what? We fall back asleep again. At this point, I decide it's finally time to start using items once again. And so I look for our full restores once again to make this game a little fair since they did it first. And so we get it out, use our full restores, use Stomp, take out Slowbro, onto Jinx. We're not too worried about Jinx. Again, easy work. That Lapras, though, we're worried about that confusion like happened last time. The nice critical hit. That berry, I don't think it's going to save you. And we make easy work of Laura Lee. On to Bruno. At this point, we decide to take on Bruno for the third time. Third time is a charm. We're stronger. We're faster. We use Surf on Onyx, as expected. Now we're going to take on Hitmonchamp. Use Surf. Clear him out with that critical hit. Chef's Kiss. Hitmonlee. We try to use that Surf again one more time. Brick does a little more on us. Surf, again, 3 for 3. Next we got is Machamp. This is the one we're worried about. So Surf does some damage. Scary Face. Drops our speed a little bit. He gets that first move now. We know we have our full restores, so we're going to last in this battle a little longer. He uses his full restore. He gets a little stronger. We keep throwing those Surfs at him. We're going to just out-survive him. He uses another full restore. We go in with another Surf. One more time. He gets that miss. We got him. It's right here. Easy Stomp. We save those Surfs. Next here comes Onyx. And where's that Surf? Cruising right through. That Earthquake couldn't shake the claw. All right, time to take on Agatha. Agatha, I'm not too worried about. They got more special attack, special defense, but I think our Surf, Stomp, Blizzard, Mudshot is going to really help, especially since she has those poison types that we're going to easily clear out. So with Golbat, we just use Stomp, make our way through. Not too bad. Here comes Arbok. Like I mentioned before, here comes that Mudshot. Makes real quick work. Nice and easy. That second Gengar, we use Surf. That Citrus Berry is not going to help you, sir. That Sludge Bomb also did not poison us. Thank you. And so we use that Surf one more time and make wake of that second Gengar. And that Haunter doesn't even stand a chance. So we take on Lance next. With Lance, he's going to be a tougher one with the Dragon types, but I think we'll be able to make a good fight. And so I try with Stomp on that first Gyarados. He flinched. I feel good. However, that full restore brings him back. Again, we're going to try again with Stomp. Not doing us hot. Surf. Here comes the big battles. The Dragons this is what I was worried about. So I decided to use Stomp. Gets those flinches. That's what I was counting on. Again, Stomp with those flinches are critical for us. They're all hitting almost every single time. So luck really is on our side. So I thought. So that Dragonair wiped us really quick with a Hyper Beam. So we're going to be trying again. And so we use that Stomp one more time. Making our way through this Gyarados. That Hyper Beam. Not looking pretty. Here comes that first Dragonair. We use that same Stomp method. We're paralyzed. That's okay. We're going to use that full restore. Act like that paralyzed didn't even happen. As we keep making our way, though, we use that Dragonair, take him out. Here comes that next Dragonair. We take him out. Here comes that Dragonite. This is where it gets interesting. So we start with that Blizzard. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. The whole reason why we learned that move. On top of Venusaur, of course. And that Aerodactyl didn't stand a chance for our Surf. Time to take on the champion, the rival, Gary. He beat us first the last time we encountered, but I don't think so. I think we got this. I don't think he's got it. All right, we missed that first Blizzard. All right, we missed that second Blizzard. Maybe we use Surf. See, this is why. That Sand Attack, even though this is why I want to take quick of him, because now we're going to be missing horrendously. Try Blizzard, and he's taking in that Sunlight. This isn't going to be good. And we lost to that Solar Beam. You guys didn't need to see me get KO'd to that again. So we try again. Got rid of that. We're not worried about our aim being worse now. It's still not great. We're focusing hard on that blizzard. We lost again. Third time, like I always say, is the charm. And so we say, forget it. I'm not doing blizzard. I'm just going to stomp our way through. Psych, we used blizzard again. I wanted to take him out with it. We only had to take him out with that. So Alakazam comes out. We use stomp. Flinches a little bit. Full restore. That's okay. We'll just stomp you one more time. Rhydon, he evolved. Also still not worried. Who's his name? Who? Gyarados. We're just going to stomp our way through. Hydro Pump. That's cool. I'm a water too. We can hang out. Not a big deal. I'll just keep stopping you over and over and over. Gary, how many full restores do you have? Did you buy just as much as me? Because you knew I was coming? Or that you beat me twice already? Good thing I have my own. So what I do again, I stomp. Dragon Rage, K, stomp. And with Arcanine, it wasn't even a question. Flamethrower, that's okay. Burned, that's alright. I'm not scared. Are you scared? I wasn't scared. I was petrified, actually. I'm surprised we got it. I'm happy. That was our first challenge. We made it. How was using Kingler? Kingler was very, very easy to use in the beginning of the game. So in the main game, we were able to finish it in about 3 hours and 16 minutes, back at level 67. And then we finished the entire game, including Leaf 4 and our champion, within about 3 hours and 57 minutes, which isn't too bad. Level 78. We fainted about 7 times, primarily in the Elite Four, which was as expected. And our moves were Stomp, Blizzard, Surf, and Mudshot. But I appreciate y'all watching. I'm curious to see what Pokemon will do next. And if you haven't, subscribe, and I hope to see you on the rest of them. All right, catch you later.